I don't give a damn if my president calls a country a shithole or, calls people out. Welcome back. Be sure to subscribe. Let's get right to it. First topic. So yesterday, Donald Trump declared April 2nd, 2025 as Liberation Day. Go ahead. Here's a great clip to explain it.
Liberating us from decline. That's the focus of tonight's angle. The scene at the White House today was something to behold. You had steel workers, pipe fitters, auto workers, and mechanics, the people who make American industry run. They were gathered in the Rose Garden to watch President Trump announce and sign his executive order that aims to make trade fair again. And we were there to watch it all unfold.
My fellow Americans, this is Liberation Day, waiting for a long time. April 2nd, 2025 will forever be remembered as the day American industry was reborn, the day America's destiny was reclaimed, and the day that we began to make America wealthy again.
And President Trump announced reciprocal tariffs on virtually every major exporting country in the world, calculated by adding the foreign nation's tariffs plus the value of any trade barriers that they have in place. Kind of ingenious. And then, in turn, we charge them half of that amount.
This is one of the most important days, in my opinion, in American history. It's our declaration of economic independence. For years, hardworking American citizens were forced to sit on the sidelines as other nations got rich and powerful, much of it at our expense. But now it's our turn to prosper, and in so doing, use trillions and trillions of dollars to reduce our taxes and pay down our national debt.
Yeah, so basically what that is Trump is just saying, yeah, we're done letting the rest of the world screw us on tariffs and everything. America's going back to being wealthy. And yeah, we're liberating ourselves from this whole, we just allow these countries to tariff us and we don't do anything in return because we're America. We got to set the standard of, just letting people rake us over the coals, apparently. But yeah, it's great to see that Trump, once again, he's just the only guy in the world who could ever do this type of thing, stand up to other countries and say, yeah, we're not going to let you screw us. And, basically also stand up to the American people and say, hey, we're done getting screwed, we're going for this. We're basically I think Trump is in the end, his end goal is to end the federal income tax, probably because he's just been so pissed off the past 8 years of everybody going, why don't you show us your tax returns? Show us your tax records. I think the guy just wants to leave his stamp on America as the guy who just completely ended the federal income tax. And I think if he was one of those, if he was the guy who did that, ended the whole federal income tax, because everybody knows this, the saying, there's only three things in life: the death, taxes, and blah, blah, blah. You name the third, you're right. But yeah, it would be incredible. But I'm just glad to see we got a president who once again is America first. Pretty much in every situation, Trump is America first, and you gotta love that. But yeah, he's basically saying we're done letting the rest of the world screw us. And what could you really ask for from your president, right? Be America first and stop letting the rest of the world screw us so we can get back to being wealthy and prospering like America should. But all right, let's get to the next topic. So Doug Ford, the Ontario Premier of Canada, is now basically begging to bend the knee to Trump on the tariffs. Go ahead, take a look at the clip.
Let's sit down and discuss this, because it's just going to hurt American jobs. I can't stress it enough. And, again, he believes he's supporting Americans. He said he was going to create jobs, create wealth, reduce inflation. It's worked the total opposite. Inflation.
But do you think it's fair that you have tariffs on a whole number of products?
That's right. And we'd be willing to take those off tomorrow if he took all the tariffs off.
Yeah, so Canada knew, listen, we're going to kind of hold out, see if Trump is really, serious about this whole tariff thing. And, we're going to play it tough and say, well, we're going to tariff you back and, you know, we're going to let you have it too. We want to inflict pain on as many Americans as we possibly can. Oh, and then when it happens, guess what? The guy's begging to bend the knee to Trump. Like, yeah, we'll remove all of our tariffs if Trump removes his tariffs too. Yeah, you're begging to bend the knee, bro. You were trying to play tough, and look it, when push comes to shove, when Trump gets his tariffs in there and you had to actually make a decision, what is your decision? I want to bend the fucking knee. You know, I want to bend the knee to Trump because basically if I don't bend the knee, or if all of Canada doesn't bend the knee and say, yeah, we'll do whatever the hell you want, because you're basically going to bankrupt our country. You know, our country will cease to exist because we basically fund them to the tune of $100 to $200 billion a year. It's like Trump says, if you can't function without ripping us off to the tune of $200 billion a year, you may as well just become the 51st state. So, I mean, good for Canada that they're smarting up and they're not pretending to be tough anymore. And it's like, yeah, okay, we know what's happening now. We're going to have to bend the knee. We're going to have to basically do whatever Trump wants us to do. And, you know, it might come down to becoming the 51st state. I wouldn't doubt it. Frankly, I'm kind of rooting for it, you know. I wouldn't mind absorbing Canada, you know. Canadians are good people. They're not bad people. They're not third world people, you know. And it would be just an incredible land grab, you know. Trump would be probably set the record for the largest land grab of any president in history. And I think that's also what he wants too. He wants land grabs because he's a land guy. And just, he can say, yeah, I did that. I got Canada. But all right, let's get to the next topic here. So a female fencer at a USA fencing event protested against a man. Go ahead, take a look at the clip. Yeah, so basically this female fencer didn't want to fence against a man, which, I mean, you can't blame her. I mean, who would, if you're a woman, why would you want to fence against a man? But yeah, it's good to see that people like this are actually taking a stand and saying, nope, not going to happen. But what's sickening is the girl was actually expelled from the event because she didn't want to, you know, compete against a man. And basically it was made into a big deal because she took a knee. Frankly, I mean, the knee is fine, but I would have preferred more of like a middle finger straight to the face, like a, fuck you, dude, get the fuck out of here. You're not competing with the women. You're ruining everything we got going on here, right? You're ruining our sports. You're ruining this event. And yeah, I would have liked to seen a more of a, you know, a straight FU to the guy rather than just taking a knee and like being all like, oh, cordial about it, I guess you could say. But yeah, this is exactly what needs to happen, right? There needs to be, no women should ever compete against a man. So if there's a man who's in some sort of event or anything that you're at, ladies, when you're competing, you just say, nope, not happening. And then that person, the dude who doesn't get to compete because everybody's just like, nope, not going to happen. They look like the morons, right? They look like total idiots because they're standing there like, I'm a woman and I want to compete, but nobody's going to let you compete. It just needs to get to the point. If legislation isn't going to do it and people aren't going to follow, you know, executive orders, and you're going to have judges out there saying, no, that's unconstitutional or whatever, you know, you're violating their human rights. You just have to take it upon yourself to say, to band together as women and be like, okay, we're never competing against a man ever again. It's not going to be allowed. We're going to forfeit or boycott the event, whatever. Because those people need to be left standing there like, God, they're just want nothing to do with me, right? That's how it needs to be. And that's what really, you know, makes waves. When women just say, nope, not going to happen. Because it's looking like that's the only way that it's actually going to happen, where you can eradicate men from women's sports? Is it all women just band together and say, yeah, no, we're not going to have one more instance where a man competes against a woman in sports. And that's it. That's what you got to do. But all right, let's get to the next topic. So apparently there's this big Trump protest on April 5th. Go ahead, take a look at the clip.
April 5th, hundreds and thousands of people in America are going to rise up against Donald Trump. It will be the biggest day of national protest against Trump since he took office. And I'm talking about every single inch of the nation will be rising up. It's not organized by the Democrats or the Democratic establishment. This is people volunteering to put on protests in their area and just going to do it. It's people organized. All the information about April 5 and the movement is going to be on handsoff2025.com. Be able to find the closest protest near you on the website as well. Make sure you share and amplify this and get out in the street on April 5th. Join the hundreds and thousands of people across this nation that are going to stand up against Trump.
So let me know in the comments, how big do you think this event's going to be? You think it's going to be huge, some huge nationwide event, or you think you're going to get about 3 people on the side of the road and maybe about 10 different cities, with some Trump signs? So basically, folks, if you're any sort of Trump supporter at all, April 5th, remember to fly your Trump flag high in your yard, or if you got a big truck, put the flag on your big truck so people know, yeah, go ahead and protest the guy. This is what we voted for. We're getting everything we voted for. And yeah, he's making America great again. What more could you ask for? The guy's just killing the damn thing, right? But people want to go out there and protest just for some reason. They don't even know what they're protesting. They're just protesting the man. Like, oh my God, mean tweets. I don't get this whole mean tweet thing, I don't give a damn if my president calls a country a shithole or, calls people out. Frankly, that's what I want, right? I want my president to be a savage that nobody wants to screw with at all. That's what I voted for. But all right, that's it for today. Be sure to like, subscribe, and we'll be seeing you.